There's a strange kind of suffering that almost no one talks about. It is the pain of seeing what others don't. You notice patterns, motives, hidden intentions. You feel atmospheres when you enter a room. You see where a path is leading long before people around you realize there is even a curve ahead. Some call it discernment. Others call it sensitivity, intuition, or spiritual sight. But you have probably realized that this gift can also feel like a burden. The question that echoes inside is simple and deep. What do I do with what I see? Joseph Murphy would answer you starting from the law of mind. What you constantly think, feel, and imagine impresses your subconscious and becomes your experience. If you see more than others, that perception will be shaped by the content of your mind. If your mind is full of fear, judgment, and suspicion, your discernment becomes a weapon that hurts you. If your mind is filled with faith, love, and inner peace, the same discernment becomes a compass that guides you. The danger is not in seeing what others don't. The danger is in seeing without inner order, without spiritual foundation, without peace. Many people who see more end up living less. Over time, they become hypervigilant, always reading between the lines, analyzing every word, interpreting every gesture. They cannot relax because their mind is constantly scanning for danger, lies, and hidden agendas. What began as a subtle spiritual sensitivity becomes a mental prison. The subconscious mind, receiving the constant message, the world is dangerous, people are not to be trusted, I must always be on guard, responds by flooding the nervous system with tension. The body stays contracted, sleep becomes shallow, and joy becomes rare. Have you noticed how your thoughts about others shape the way you feel around them? When you walk into a place thinking, everyone here is false, nobody understands me, I see things they don't, your subconscious immediately prepares you for battle. Your heart rate changes, your muscles tighten, your face hardens. You may be physically present, but you are spiritually defending yourself. The law of mind is precise. As within, so without. Your inner images of threat create an outer experience of threat, even if nothing objectively dangerous is happening. This is one of the subtle dangers of seeing what others don't. You may begin to confuse discernment with judgment, intuition with suspicion, clarity with superiority. You start believing that your ability to see more makes you better, deeper, more spiritual than others. But pride, even when wearing a spiritual mask, poisons the subconscious. It creates separation, and separation is the opposite of inner peace. The more you see yourself as the one who knows among those who are asleep, the more isolated you feel. Your gift slowly turns into loneliness. On the other side, there is another danger, denying what you see to fit in. You notice something is wrong in a relationship, in a business, in a path you are walking, but you silence your intuition because others do not see it. You tell yourself it is exaggeration, that you are too sensitive, that you should just be normal. You betray your inner sight to keep the approval of those around you. Your subconscious registers this betrayal. It records each time you choose external harmony over inner truth, and it responds with unease, anxiety, and a sense that you are not living authentically. Joseph Murphy would invite you to a different posture. He would say, your discernment is neither a curse nor a trophy. It is a power of your subconscious mind, sharpened by your experiences and your spiritual journey. The question is not, why do I see what others don't? The question is, how can I use what I see to serve life, to protect my peace, and to align more deeply with the divine presence within me? Spiritual vision without inner discipline leads to torment. Spiritual vision guided by divine love leads to wisdom. Imagine your mind as a lens. The subconscious is like a vast field of impressions, memories, beliefs, fears, desires, and faith. Your conscious mind is the hand holding the lens, choosing where to place your attention. If you repeatedly focus on shadows, lies, and dangers, you sharpen the ability to detect them. If you repeatedly focus on truth, goodness, and the presence of God, you sharpen your ability to discern these too. The danger of seeing what others don't is that, without realizing it, you may train your vision almost exclusively for darkness. If you believe there's something greater guiding your life, subscribe now and like this video to continue your transformation journey. Because what we are talking about here is not just psychology or hypervigilance. We are talking about your relationship with truth, with your subconscious, and with the infinite intelligence that Joseph Murphy called the God within you. This is an invitation to learn how to see without losing peace, to discern without becoming bitter, to notice deeply without drowning in what you notice. Have you ever asked yourself if your discernment is making you more loving or more critical, more peaceful or more tense, more compassionate or more distant? This is one of the most honest tests you can apply to your inner sight. The divine mind never gives you perception so you can feel superior. It gives you perception so you can walk wisely, protect your heart, help others, and anchor more light into the world. When seeing more leads you away from peace, it is not the vision that is wrong. It is the interpretation and the use you make of it. Your subconscious mind is like a faithful servant. It accepts the orders you impress upon it, especially when they come wrapped in strong emotion. If every time you notice something wrong in a situation or a person, you react with inner drama, fear, or indignation, you are telling your subconscious, this world is dangerous. I am alone. I need to control everything. Over time, this mental climate becomes your default state. Even when you are with kind people, your system remains in self-defense mode. This is not discernment. This is accumulated fear dressed as discernment. The law of mind invites you to a higher posture. You can learn to see what is hidden without internally exploding. You can recognize manipulation without becoming internally violent. You can notice dishonesty without poisoning your heart with hatred. Joseph Murphy would say that your job is to keep your mental images aligned with divine harmony, no matter what you see outside. You do not deny reality, but you choose to interpret it from the standpoint of faith, not fear. There is a sentence you might quietly ask yourself. What am I doing with what I see? Are you using it to criticize, gossip, and complain, feeding your subconscious with more bitterness? Or are you using it to pray, to adjust your choices, to support those who are open, to protect your boundaries? The same insight can either build you up or break you down, depending on the mental atmosphere in which it is held. In the next part, we will go deeper into how discernment works in the subconscious, why some people see patterns others don't, and how to prevent this sense of seeing more from turning into anxiety, control, and spiritual loneliness. There's a way to walk with open eyes and a calm heart, and it begins inside your own mind. To understand why you sometimes see what others don't, Joseph Murphy would take you back to the nature of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious is constantly recording impressions, not only the obvious events of your life, but also the subtle gestures, tones of voice, emotional atmospheres, and energetic climates of every situation. While your conscious mind may be distracted, your subconscious is wide open, like a sensitive camera capturing everything. Over years, this accumulation of impressions builds patterns of recognition. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt something was off, even before anyone said a word? On the surface, nothing looked wrong. People were smiling, talking, being polite, but something inside you tightened. That something is your subconscious comparing the current atmosphere with a vast archive of previous impressions. It detects frequencies similar to moments when you were betrayed, lied to, or hurt, and it signals you through intuition, a gut feeling, or a sudden inner discomfort. This is one form of discernment. The danger begins when you do not know how to distinguish between a true inner signal and a projection of your fears. The subconscious does not only store facts, it also stores interpretations. If, in the past, you believe that people always abandon me or you can't trust anyone, your subconscious will look at the world through that filter. It will highlight every small sign that confirms your old belief and ignore signs that contradict it. Suddenly, you are seeing betrayal even where there is only human imperfection. You are seeing rejection even where there is simply silence. You are seeing enemies even where there are only people who are different from you. Have you noticed how, on days when you are very hurt or tired, your discernment becomes harsher? You are quicker to assume the worst, quicker to interpret, quicker to judge. This is not because your spiritual sight improved overnight, but because your pain is coloring your perception. Joseph Murphy would remind you, your subconscious reproduces what you impress upon it, not what is objectively true. If you constantly impress it with images of danger, trickery, and abandonment, it will use all its power to detect these things, whether they are actually present or not. Let us picture someone named Sarah. She grew up in a home where secrets, unspoken tensions, and emotional manipulation were constant. As a child, she learned to read micro-expressions, to feel the emotional temperature in a house, to notice when a smile did not match the tone of voice. That was her way of surviving. As an adult, this ability became a kind of sharp discernment. She could perceive when someone was being inauthentic, when a situation was spiritually unhealthy, when a promise was empty. This was a real gift. But because Sarah's subconscious was also saturated with fear and distrust, her discernment easily turned into suspicion and control. In relationships, she saw hidden motives everywhere. If someone delayed responding to a message, she knew they were abandoning her. If a friend showed affection to someone else, she saw betrayal. If a project presented the slightest risk, she saw failure and refused to move. Her spiritual sight, mixed with emotional wounds, created a life of tension. Sarah spent her days analyzing people instead of loving them, scanning situations instead of living them. Her inner peace became a hostage to her perception. Joseph Murphy would say to Sarah, and to you, the subconscious power that now fuels fear can be turned toward peace. The lens has to be cleaned. The same mind that sees shadows can learn to see divine presence behind everything. The same discernment that protects you from real danger can be trained not to invent danger where there is none. The law of mind never stops operating, but you can redirect it. Comment, I believe in divine power. If you feel that your sensitivity, your capacity to see what others don't, can be healed and aligned instead of suppressed or exaggerated. This is more than a sentence on a screen. It is a declaration to your subconscious that you are willing to let divine intelligence teach you how to see. One of the most common dangers of seeing what others don't is spiritual pride. You begin to build an identity around being different, awake, or more aware. You feel a secret satisfaction in noticing things that others ignore. Slowly, without noticing, you move from humility to superiority, from compassion to contempt, from service to judgment. When this happens, your discernment starts poisoning your own heart. You may be correct about certain insights, but your internal reaction to them is incorrect. The subconscious mind, sensing this separation and superiority, plants seeds of loneliness and conflict in your life. Discernment without love is acid. It corrodes your peace from the inside. It eats away your capacity to enjoy simple moments. It makes you constantly look for flaws, hidden agendas, and spiritual immaturity in others. Even in your moments of worship, prayer, or meditation, your mind is busy evaluating, categorizing, comparing. You are not resting in God. You are auditing the world on God's behalf. The result is exhaustion, not illumination. Another danger is confusing discernment with a need to control. When you see what others don't, it is tempting to try to manage everyone's journey. You want to warn, correct, convince, open their eyes, prevent them from making mistakes. You forget that each soul has its own timetable with God. You forget that you're not the Holy Spirit. You forget that you, too, are in process and that there are things you still don't see. This compulsion to control, dressed as concern, generates stress in your subconscious. You live burdened with responsibilities that are not yours. Which thought do you repeat most when you sense something others don't? Is it, I must fix this, they're all blind, I am alone in this, or God is here, God sees, God will guide me? That repeated thought is the seed that your subconscious will make grow. If the seed is pride, the fruit will be isolation. If the seed is fear, the fruit will be anxiety. If the seed is trust, the fruit will be inner peace. Joseph Murphy encourages you to remember that the presence of God is not only in what you see, but also in what you don't understand. You are not required to interpret everything. You are not required to act on every insight. Sometimes discernment is simply a quiet knowing that you keep between you and God, allowing divine wisdom to act in ways you cannot imagine. In the next part, we will talk about how to use scientific prayer and visualization to purify your discernment, how to invite your subconscious to serve inner peace instead of inner turmoil, and how to walk in the world seeing deeply while remaining anchored in the stillness of God within you. Joseph Murphy taught that scientific prayer is the art of consciously directing your thought to align with divine truth, so that your subconscious mind can be filled with harmony instead of confusion. If you tend to see what others don't, this kind of prayer is not optional. It is essential. Without it, your perception will reflect your wounds. With it, your perception can reflect God's peace. Scientific prayer is different from mental overthinking. It is not about trying to figure everything out. It is about surrendering everything to the infinite intelligence that knows. Your role is to choose the quality of thought you impress upon your subconscious, and then rest in faith. When your mind is filled with images of divine order, the way you see people and situations begins to change. You still notice what is unhealthy or dangerous, but you no longer panic, obsess, or harden your heart. Imagine a moment when you sense something is wrong in a situation others think is fine. Maybe it is a partnership, a relationship, a spiritual environment, or a choice that looks good on the surface. Your old pattern might be to either explode with warnings, disconnect in anger, or silently carry the weight of being the only one who sees. Instead, you can choose a different response. You can step aside, even if only internally, and pray like this: Infinite presence within me, you see beyond what my eyes can see. You know every motive, every seed, every outcome. I recognize that something here does not resonate with your peace in me. I give this perception to you. Purify my seeing. If it is truly your guidance, confirm it and show me what to do with love and wisdom. If it is fear or projection, dissolve it in your light. I choose to rest in you while you act. When you pray this way, you're doing something very powerful. You are telling your subconscious that you are not the final authority. You acknowledge that there is a mind greater than yours, and that this mind is love. This calms your inner system. Your discernment is no longer fueled by the need to be right or safe at all costs. It is held within a larger trust. Have you noticed how your body reacts when you think, I must solve everything myself, compared to when you think, God is with me in this, guiding me step by step? In the first case, tension rises. In the second, the shoulders soften. The subconscious responds immediately to the quality of thought. Scientific prayer is the practice of consistently choosing thoughts that produce inner peace, even when you see things that could disturb you. Tell us in the comments which area of your life you want to transform. Your word is a powerful seed. Maybe you want to transform the way you see people, so you are less judgmental and more understanding. Maybe you want to transform how you react to what you notice in the spiritual world, so you can sleep in peace. Maybe you want to transform a tendency to control others in the name of discernment. By writing it, you're not only sharing with us, you're giving your subconscious a clear direction. Joseph Murphy also emphasized the power of visualization. Let's use it to heal the way you see. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your mind as a clear lake. In the past, every impression, fear, and assumption dropped into this lake like stones, creating waves and turbulence. Now imagine a gentle light descending from above, representing divine wisdom. This light touches the surface of the lake and begins to calm it. The waves become smaller, the water starts to clear. You see particles of fear sinking and dissolving, particles of pride melting, particles of suspicion being washed away. In this inner picture, see yourself standing at the shore of this lake. You look into the water and realize that what you see in the world is a reflection of what is in this lake. When a lake was agitated, every reflection looked distorted. Now, as the water calms, the images become truer. You can still see the rocks at the bottom, representing real dangers, lies, and unhealthy patterns, but you're no longer afraid. You know they are there, and you know how to walk without injuring yourself. The lake is not your enemy. It is your ally. Comment, I believe in divine power. If, as you visualize this, you feel a longing for your inner lake to become calm and clear. This is not about denying what you see. It is about wanting to see with God's eyes, not only your own. Scientific prayer can also be turned into affirmations that gently reprogram the subconscious. You might say, morning and night, the light of divine wisdom guides my perception. I see clearly without losing my peace. My discernment is purified by love. I recognize what is harmful, but I remain anchored in God. I do not need to control others. I trust the divine working in every heart. My mind is calm. My heart is soft. My intuition is aligned with truth. Repeat these phrases slowly with feeling. Your subconscious does not respond to mechanical words. It responds to the emotional quality behind them. Over time, these affirmations become the new filter through which you interpret what you see. You remain sensitive, but not fragile. You remain perceptive, but not paranoid. You remain awake, but not restless. Have you noticed that some people who see and sense deeply also radiate peace? You feel safe around them, not judged. You feel understood, not dissected. Their discernment does not create distance. It creates space for authenticity. This is what happens when perception is married to love. Their subconscious is saturated with the belief, God is here, God is working, God is bigger than any darkness, so they can look at shadows without being swallowed by them. This is the path Joseph Murphy invites you to walk, to combine the power of your subconscious mind with the faith that the universe is fundamentally held by a benevolent intelligence. The more you cultivate this faith, the less dangerous it becomes to see what others don't. You no longer use your discernment to build inner walls, but to walk wisely and help gently. In the next part, we will bring these insights into a closing that is both emotional and practical. We will talk about how to live daily with this gift of seeing more without burning out, without becoming hard, and without abandoning your peace. We will also invite you to choose the first positive thought you will plant in your subconscious today, so that your inner vision can finally serve your inner peace. You are not given the ability to see more so that you would live less. You are not given sensitivity so that you would spend your days hiding from people or fighting them in your mind. Joseph Murphy reminds you, every power of your subconscious mind was created to serve life, not to sabotage it. If your discernment has been stealing your peace, it is not a sign that you should become blind. It is a sign that your inner programming needs healing. Everything begins in thought. The danger of seeing what others don't is ultimately the danger of thinking in a way that poisons what you see. If your inner talk says, I'm always the one who sees and no one understands me, you create a world where you are constantly isolated. If your inner talk says, God shows me things so I can walk wisely and love better, you create a world where your perception becomes a path to deeper connection, not separation. The first practical step is humility. Admit before God and yourself that you do not see everything, that you do not know everything, that some of what you call discernment might be the echo of your fears. This is not to shame you. It is to open your subconscious to correction. You might say in prayer, Infinite Mind, I thank you for the sensitivity and insight you have given me. But I confess that sometimes I have misused these gifts. I have judged when I should have prayed. I have tried to control when I should have trusted. I have isolated myself when I should have asked for your peace. I ask you now to purify my perception. Teach me to see with your eyes. Then comes trust. Trust that the same God who allowed you to see certain things is also capable of protecting you, guiding you, and handling what you cannot control. When you feel overwhelmed by what you're noticing in the world, in people, in systems, in spiritual environments, remember, you are not the savior. You are a witness, a participant, a child. You are invited to collaborate with the divine, not replace it. This awareness relaxes your subconscious. It knows that it can stay alert without carrying the whole universe on its shoulders. Have you noticed how much lighter you feel in the presence of someone who trusts deeply? Even if they are aware of difficulties and dangers, they speak with a tone of assurance. They are not naive, but they are not panicked either. Their discernment does not make you afraid. It makes you calm because you sense that they see both the problem and the God who is greater than the problem. You can become that kind of person, not by forcing a fake positivity, but by feeding your subconscious with images of divine order stronger than any image of chaos. Ask yourself gently, do I want my discernment to become a source of fear or a source of peace? The answer to this question will guide the thoughts you choose to nurture. When you notice something dark, instead of staying stuck and look how terrible this is, shift to God. I see this, but I know you see even more. I place this in your hands. Guide me in what I should think, feel, and do about it, and grant me peace. What's the first positive thought you will plant in your subconscious today about your own way of seeing? Perhaps it is, my discernment is guided by love. Or, I see clearly and stay peaceful. Or God is bigger than anything I see. Choose one. Let it accompany you through the day. When an insight comes that could disturb you, bring this thought back to mind and repeat it inwardly. You are teaching your subconscious a new association. Seeing more now equals trusting more, not fearing more. As you walk this path, some very practical changes will occur. You will feel less compelled to comment on everything you perceive. Silence will no longer feel like abandonment of truth, but like cooperation with the divine, who often works in secret. You will choose more carefully where to share your insights, looking for hearts that are open instead of trying to force those who are not ready. You will spend less time analyzing and more time praying, less time complaining and more time blessing. Your nights will slowly become calmer, because your mind will no longer be revisiting every detail of what you saw during the day. You may also notice that your relationships shift. Some people who are drawn to you only for your sharp eye may move away because you no longer feed gossip or spiritual superiority. Others, who feel safe in your new peaceful presence, may come closer. Your discernment will stop being something that sets you above others and will become a subtle light that helps those willing to see. You will not have to advertise it. It will be felt. Most of all, you will rediscover inner peace. Not because you stopped seeing reality, but because you started seeing a deeper reality, the constant presence of God in all things. You will look at the same world and feel different because your subconscious, instead of echoing fear, will echo faith. Instead of repeating, this is all going to end badly, it will repeat somehow, divine wisdom is at work here. This does not make you passive. It makes you creative. From this place of peace, you will know better when to speak, when to act, when to be silent, and when to simply pray. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to continue your journey of personal, mental, financial, and spiritual transformation. The power is within you, and each new video is a step to awaken it. Your discernment, your sensitivity, your ability to see what others don't, all of this can either break you or build you. The deciding factor lies in the thoughts you choose, the prayers you offer, the images you impress upon your subconscious. When you join your inner sight with divine love, the danger fades and the gift remains. You will no longer be afraid of seeing. You will be grateful for seeing, because you will know that every insight is held in the hands of a God who is, beyond all appearances, the true source of your inner peace.